Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to show number 99. We're really getting up there. It's the big 100 next week, so that's going to be really interesting. So it's a Pop Culture Gamers show. My name's Haydn. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Steve. Steve, how are you doing?
Sorry, I was just taking a drink of whiskey then and it just went down the wrong way. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. How's you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. How's your week been?
Quite.
Because you've been off, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't done a thing all week. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Week off work. Just been chilling out, doing bits and bobs at home. But more than not, I've been playing games more than anything else. Watching a few movies.
And did you get a little arrival this week?
Yeah, I didn't get two arrivals. I was expecting twins, but that didn't materialise. But Shock 2. It was all cock and ball, to be honest. I'm not going to go into it in any depth, really, because there's no point. They just couldn't deliver. I even spoke to them on it. I raised a ticket, which only actually came through today. I mean, a week later. Really?
Yeah, they've been pretty poor performance, I think, of Shock 2. They're very erratic at the moment.
Well, they ain't getting any service from me anymore, I'll tell you that for nothing. But, it was all right. Amazon came in swiftly and delivered it in the mid-morning, as they said they were going to do. I was very quick, to be honest. I didn't expect it sort of 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's typically you think by the end of the day, isn't it? But they obviously ship these out early for everyone to get them.
Yeah, for those who have been living in a cage, I think that we should mention that we are talking about the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, nice little addition to the room. And I've lived in here more than I've anywhere else.
Yeah. So have you got it as a vertical shoebox or as a horizontal Lego brick sort of orientation?
It's a nice tower, shall we say, sitting there. It just makes sense to have it upright.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think it should be side on for me. But we can go into that later, I should imagine.
I'm sure that we will be waxing lyrical about the new Xbox, seeing as that we both love Xbox.
But it's been all right. It's been good. I've been playing really one game now, obviously. But
Farming Simulator. That was an unusual choice.
It was, wasn't it?
We know what your destiny is to play first thing on the new console.
Oh, mate, it's freaking awesome. Love it. But other than that, it's all right, actually. It wasn't really a subdued fit time, I think, because, you're not pacing the floor because it all seemed very regimental when it came in. Everyone was out of the house at the time, so I just got in my room, unpacked it, took a few snapshots, and we'll talk about plugging it in later on. But yeah, all good.
Very good.
What about yourself?
Well, my Series X arrived just before 8 o'clock in the morning, which was fantastic and awful at the same time because I was working. And I'm working from home, so it was sat there beckoning me all day. So it was a long day, all I can say. But the good news is on Tuesday, my internet was awful. And I mean, absolutely abysmal. I have no notion why, because it's not, I'm assuming that the internet must have been affected by the launch of the Xbox. That's all I can think. Because both my wife and I work from home, and we were both, having trouble connecting to our work servers, getting any decent speed out of them and stuff like that. And when it came to downloading stuff, because my console came early, I thought, right, I'm going to get it downloading all of the games I want it to. And I thought, well, I've got all day, so that'll do it easy. So all I'll do is I'll just tell it the games I want it to. I'll put in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That'll just download the whole game online. I'm fine with that. I'll have that off Game Pass. I'll have that off Game Pass. I'll have that off Game Pass. Slap bang wallop. It'll all be done, ready for when I finish work. I thought, cool. So I left it on all day. Yeah, I think by lunchtime I'd got 5 gigs of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that is it.
Well, that will all be explained in my news piece that I got. So which is very good, interesting reading, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was getting 36 megabits per second swapping around, but you're only on 6, weren't you? Is that right?
At the most, yeah. And that's hardwired, which is
I don't get that.
Neither do I. I mean, I reset the router in the end, and that minorly improved the speed.
That was 6 megabits per second is crawl speed. Not even. No, it's not. It's not even snail speed, to be honest. Dreadful.
I know, absolutely awful. But I'm on supposed to be getting 70 megabits per second. I actually, real world performance, actually get about 50 megabits. But even accounting for the fact that we were my wife was connected through whatever system her organisation connects through, and mine was connected through like a Citrix solution and other stuff. That shouldn't have been such an overhead. So it was a long couple of days to get everything downloaded, but the internet seems to have picked up a little bit since then, which is good news. Then I have to admit, this week has been one of the best weeks I've had in my entire life, other than having to work, because I've had some other good news. And, I've had the last 3 years have been, for want of a better term, really quite crummy. They've just, I lost my parents, lots of other stuff gone on, and then all of this. As I mentioned on the show before, I was going through tests because I'd found a lump, blah, blah, blah. And, obviously was getting scanned for cancer. The good news is they didn't find any cancer. So I'm relieved. However,
that was a big weight off your shoulders, though, wasn't it?
Oh, I felt 20 stone lighter when they said that. I just felt like the sun had broken through from behind the clouds. It was just, thank God for that, because my worry about it obviously is, obviously nobody really wants to die, but, my son's, he's only in his teens. I don't want him to, I want to know him as an adult. So, I don't want to leave my wife alone. All that sort of stuff. So it's been a worry, and this is my third cancer scare as well. But rather than thinking, well, you've gone through 2 of them and they've turned out to be nothing, you sort of start thinking, this feels like I'm playing Russian roulette and I've had 2 lucky empty chambers. So anyway, good news is they couldn't find any cancer cells from the tests that they've done, but they're going to keep monitoring me for the next however long, and I've got to go back in 2 months, and if there's any changes to this thing, they will address it. But they're a bit reluctant to do an operation because it's in my neck and there's a lot of nerves, and they could end up with like facial paralysis or all of that sort of stuff because of where it is, which is not something that I really fancy the idea of. So, and it's not like my face is deformed or anything like that. Well, not any more deformed than it's been for the last 49 years. But it's just that it's sort of like a little pea-sized lump in just under my jaw sort of thing. It doesn't even, you can't even see it when you look because, of the way that the skin is and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll see, but so far all is good news. And then on Friday, and this was sort of like the cat that got the cream moment.
With a cherry on the top?
Cherry on the top, and there was a bit of chocolate coating on top of that as well, because it was all of the things that I'd sent to British toy auctions. It was the auction. And I did very well.
You
very
did,
well
yes.
Indeed.
In
a matter of fact, around about £3,500 or £600, well, which is the gross. So I've got to pay a listing fee of £2 per item, or per lot rather, plus VAT. and commission plus VAT. So that will knock off about £500, but I'll still have £3,000, which
you sniffed it, hasn't it?
No. And Jade said, my wife said, what do you think you're going to earn? And I said, if I don't get enough to pay for an Xbox Series X, I think I've been robbed. If I get enough to pay for the Series X and the PlayStation, I think I'll have done the minimum of my expectations. Given the fact that I'd done a lot of research in how much stuff was, my personal estimate was, ironically, about £3,500.
Oh, okay, so you weren't far off then.
No, I wasn't. And my top end estimate was about 7. And I was basing that on the fact that, obviously, when you're doing it to an auction, it's sort of like trade. And eBay's like the retail. So I was looking at the retail sort of prices. And I was thinking, well, let's think 100% markup. I've got that item. That's on for so-and-so. So I should get around about this amount. And I ended up, that was how I sort of hoped it would go. And it went exactly like that. And I was just absolutely so chuffed.
Did any pieces go particularly higher than you thought, what they were, or not?
I had 3 lots of Star Wars figures in, which one lot went for £280 for about 20, and another lot went for basically the same price, and then another lot with slightly fewer in but a large Boba Fett went for a couple of hundred. And there was the Star Wars cardboard Death Star from way back in 1978 or whenever it was released, and that went for £340.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like cardboard. Well, it's not like cardboard. It is cardboard printed.
You're paying for a piece of paper.
Yeah, effectively. And it was still in its box and that. A lot of these things, my parents were very fastidious about keeping boxes, and they used to, it used to be the mentality of, well, we'll stick the box in the loft because if it goes wrong, we'll take it back to the shop in the box.
Yeah.
Which people generally don't do now, and normally it's blister packaging, so you don't have that opportunity anyway.
No.
So, so massively pleased about that. So British Toy Auctions, well done. You've really done me proud on that. I was delighted.
You were so poo-pooing this, weren't you, at one point?
Well, yeah, because I'd phoned them up and I must have caught them off on a bad day. That's all I can say. But the service after that was absolutely exemplary. And they've done done me proud in terms of that. I'm really, really happy with that. And let's put it this way: that £3,000 was basically spent by the end of the day.
So you didn't exactly say, well, I'm going to say what the PC you spec'd out. You spec'd out the max you could get for what you got.
No, I could have spec'd out slightly higher, but I spec'd out what I wanted. Because I had a very clear sort of idea in mind of what I wanted, because I'd been sort of, well, when you're a PC, user, you sort of keep your eye on what's what. So it was the latest gen i9 I've gone for. And it's a K version, so it can be overclocked. I'm getting it professionally overclocked, all of this, that and the other. 3080 graphics card. Lots and lots of really nice stuff in it, lots of RGB because you like RGB on a computer. So I can't wait to see it. And it's also one of these double width cases as well, because I wanted to get plenty of airflow in there as well.
Is this going to be water cooled or not? Or
the processor's water cooled, because it's got a radiator on it. So the actual radiator that I've got a fan and radiator for the processor is actually an NZXT Kraken Z63 liquid cooling system, and that is so cool because it's actually got a display that goes on top of the CPU, and it tells you what the core temperature is and stuff like that, and you can actually put GIFs on it and animations.
Mm.
So I'm going to have a Pop Culture Gamers one on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought that would be very, very cool. Because, you know, I want something that's going to perform well, but I also want it to be really cool. So, yeah, so when that comes, it's open for a bit of debate because of the availability of 3080 graphics cards at the moment. But I'm hoping around about beginning of December sometime, but they said that they would be in contact when there's availability there. But, yeah, it's something I've been wanting for a long time, because I was seriously considering just going PC. And then I thought, no, I'm going to go Xbox and PlayStation still. And then I was planning on upgrading to a new computer later on, but I thought, no, I'll do it now. Because computers, you know what computers are like. You buy it today, it's out of date next week.
Oh, this thing I got here is archaic by comparison.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised it still runs, to be honest. But anyway, what it does, and that's as far as it goes, to be honest. But there you go.
So, yeah, it's been a good week for me. That's all I can say.
Well, just a bit of a pickup was needed, I think, and yeah, it's good.
So you went there, Steve. I missed you there.
No, so I said you needed a bit of a pickup, so... Yeah,
definitely. So I'm pleased with it, though. And, well, we'll talk about the Xbox later on as well. So, okay, if you've got anything else to add, shall we go into...
Yeah, no, not really, no.
No. Okay, we'll go into gaming this week. All right, so gaming this week, and Steve, you've got some news for us.
Yeah, it's a bit condensed, but so I found this on the BBC News the other day, and after what we've both been through with downloads, this was quite apparent. So the title of the news story from the BBC was "The Xbox Call of Duty causes a record broadband data use in the UK." So the UK leading internet providers have experienced record-breaking broadband use as a result of the new Xbox console and a fresh release of Call of Duty game franchise. BT, Virgin Media, Sky, TalkTalk, Vodafone, City Fibre, Zen Internet, so they all had coped with this spike for demand on Tuesday. Much of this activity was generated by the video game downloads of large files. Some people have experienced slower speeds as a consequence, Haydn. The internet service provider will be tested again on 19th of November when the new PlayStation 5 comes out in the UK. So Activision releasing the updates for Call of Duty, Modern Warfare and Warzone, that ranged up to 65 gigabytes in size. Preloads for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War were up to 130 gig, which launched on Friday. And an update to Bungie's video game Destiny 2, that was at a 65 gig update, also with the live event inside the title as well. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was 60 gigs, even if users had bought the game in disc form, they still were facing an 8 gig day one update patch. And various security updates were bug fixes for Microsoft as a part of its regular monthly patch Tuesday release. So all that went on to a download dependence. So BT said that the traffic peaked at 18 terabits per second, equivalent to delivering 1,510 hours of high definition video every second. That compared to their previous record of 17.5 terabits per second, reported on the evening when it experienced high demand for both streaming the football and video games. This is sort of comfortable with the network capability they spoke to. Virgin Media said they had 108 petabytes of data were consumed via its network, and 1 petabyte, I can't even say that now, 1 petabyte is equivalent to 1 billion megabits, or 1 million gigabytes. It said it was 30% higher than its average figure last month. Its previous busiest day was in June when Call of Duty Warzone Season 4 launched. Keeping the country throughout the COVID-19 pandemic remains their top priority, and their anticipation of another busy weekend with the streaming of the Autumn Nations Cup, said Jean Jork from the Chief Technology Information Officer. TalkTalk, they said that their network traffic spiked at 6.8 terabits per second. It appears to be an appetite for data showing no signs of slowing down during the second lockdown, commented Gary Steen from the managing director. Sky also was saying that their traffic surge was 16.6 terabits per second at its highest peak, setting a new record for its network. Its usual usage peak for Tuesday is about 14 terabits per second. The BBC asked KCOM, I'm not sure who they are, but they're linked to the post office to share the figures. But OpenReach provided theirs, and their infrastructure was 174 petabytes, and their data was consumed the same as a figure of 193 petabytes on the 5th of August. So it's ridiculous, isn't it? What we need, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like for America, because some places are really in the middle of nowhere.
Well, some places are virtually still on dial-up, aren't they?
I know, and you can imagine. So from your point of view, without going into too much detail, your game, obviously, was it just the 8 gig update patch you needed to download then? Because obviously the rest of it was off the disc.
No, because I said download the update, and then it downloaded a 50 gig update.
Yeah. So,
which took 2 days to download.
I wonder if you just disconnected the internet from it and just downloaded the game onto the disc. Would that make any difference or not?
I don't think so, because it had already initiated the download on it, and by the time I'd realised how slow it was, I didn't want to start it again in case I had to go through all that time again.
Yeah.
I thought it's sort of like, you know, when you get halfway through a race or halfway somewhere and you think, I really can't be bothered, but it's easier to just carry on and get to where you want it to go. You know, it was a bit like that.
So, but imagine some people that might have been capped on their data as well.
Why would anybody have a data cap now?
They still do. Quite a few people do.
I've never ever wanted the restrictions of a data cap, and I've never bought anything that has had a data cap on it.
No,
apart from my phone, my mobile, yeah, but home phone and internet, no.
I mean, we'll go for unlimited broadband these days, but, you know, it's quite frightening for some of them figures, though. Just couldn't believe it.
Petabytes, though. I mean...
Please. Yeah, it's mental, absolutely mental. But anyway, that was interesting to read, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Consider what everyone was going through on that day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Any other news that you can think of?
No, I can't really say I've got that much news. I've been solely, when I've had time, concentrating on the Series X. So I haven't had a chance to read any news or do anything at all like that. I haven't even watched a movie this week. I did start watching Outland with Sean Connery.
Yeah, well, I sat down with the missus to watch a couple of films, one on the Saturday night and one on the Friday night. But other than that, I've been, most of the time's been in here, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about the new releases. So, new releases for this week, we have a Bubble Bobble for Friends. The Baron is back on a PS4 and Switch. Pure Pool on a Switch. 5 Dates on a PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch. Mars Horizon, PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch. Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle on Stadia. 5 Dates on the PC. Chris Tales on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch and Stadia. Astro's Playroom on a PS5, Borderlands 3 on a PS5, Bugsnax on a PS5, Dirt 5 on a PS5, Fortnite on a PS5, Observer System Redux on a PS5, Marvel's Spider-Man PS5, Miles Morales on PS4 and PS5, Sackboy A Big Adventure PS4 and PS5, Godfall PS5 PC, Maneater on a PS5, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition on a PS5, Demon Souls, The Skylark Prophecy and Katamari Damacy, Demon Souls on PS5, The Skylia Prophecy on a PC, Katamari Damacy Reroll on a PS4 and Xbox One. So, loads and loads. Obviously, it's the PS5 release next week, which I'll be obviously reviewing what the console's like. I've been watching some videos about the operating system, and I think I really want to check out what those are doing, because I think that this might be where one of the few places where Sony will actually be winning this time.
Well, I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard both sides of the story. But yeah, until you get it in your hands, you're not going to really know, are you?
No, and I want to see it running. So, do you do subscriptions?
Yep, bear with me. I'll scroll down. So, Epic. Do you know what? I can't even read that. That's last week's, isn't it?
No, it's this week's.
Sure, we read that last week. So the Epic one we got there was...
We were saying that was for next week, last week.
Oh, okay. So that was Elite. Is that Elite Dangerous there? I can just about work it out.
Yeah, Elite Dangerous from the 19th.
And then the Terrorist, was that?
The Texturist.
Thank you.
Is currently available now, and the World Next Door is available from the 19th.
They're very small icons, so my eyes can't tell the difference. It's blur.
Yeah, but fantastic news for PC owners who haven't dived into Elite Dangerous yet, having that free on Epic, because that is one hell of a game. You know,
is that going to be the whole? Is that going to be the whole thing with all the expansions?
Yes, because they're giving away Horizons now.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually pick up the full Monty version of Elite Dangerous straight off, which is fantastic. It's a hell of a game, and obviously they've got the new improvements coming. You know, with the new DLC. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing what they do with the game next.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to see what it's. I'd like to see an Xbox patch for that.
It'd be nice, a PS5 and Xbox Series X patch.
That'd be very interesting.
Very indeed. So, the big elephant in the room, can you move over, please? Thank you, elephant. Is the launch of the new console, then. So, awesome. I'm going to let you go first, Steve, on this, because out of the two of us, I think you're more of an Xbox fanboy than I am.
Well,
I don't mean that funnily. I just mean
not at all.
Your first love as a console is Xbox. I'm a little bit more agnostic about it.
You don't believe in God?
You know what I mean.
Okay, so installation. So getting out of the box, I think we've all seen the unboxing, so it wasn't too much of a surprise when we opened it up. Maybe we should have looked at that, I don't know, but it doesn't matter, really. I mean, it's well packaged, to be honest. And it isn't very big, I thought. I suppose because of the way it's designed and the way that the hardware clicks together. It's a different shape for the way it is. And I suppose if you'd have designed it in line with the other consoles, it may still would have been like that, I don't know. But nevertheless, we have a chimney stack that sits in our room now. And I'm very chuffed. Installation for me was pretty much a breeze. So we had a patch of 700 megabits on that, on the update. You used your app to help set it up, which was no problem at all. Connecting it to the amp was a relief that I got the 4K pass-through without any issues whatsoever regarding other news I've talked about over the last few weeks for some receivers that are getting out there.
Yeah, I was the same because I've got the Yamaha, amp, and that went through fine as well.
Yeah. Regarding installation, as we were saying pretty earlier on, I think because I was doing it via the network, I heard rumours, for example, for Destiny that they said to do a fresh download. So I ended up doing a Wi-Fi network install. Now, what I should have done really was I should have transferred it to on the Xbox One in the other room. I think I should have actually transferred it to the HDD, one of the drives I got, and probably plugged that in to the Xbox Series X, and that would have been a damn sight quicker. That's probably the way to go if anyone in future is going to be picking them up now. Regarding the heat, we've heard these stories. We've seen these vapor. Did you see that vapor video?
I love the tweet that Microsoft had put in saying that we can't quite believe that we have to ask people to stop putting vapor smoke into their Xboxes. God, there are idiots in this world.
I'm not going to say nothing about the video because I listened to what he said. Well, maybe not listen to what he said, but yeah, I heard what he said, but we couldn't understand that. But I've had it on all day. The heat is very minimal coming out the top, so I don't think there's much of an issue there with that.
It's not even as much as comes out of my PC.
No, that'd be interesting to see what the difference between that would be from your point of view.
Yeah, my new one, yeah.
Regarding the drive, so I installed Gears, Destiny, Tetris Effect, and Planet Coaster, Forza Horizon 4. And I've only used 31% of the hard drive. Which isn't bad, to be honest. I just put, basically, I chose the other games there just because they were for performance mode on the Series X. And Destiny we'll talk about later, but Tetris Effect, Forza Horizon 4 looks incredible, to be honest.
To be fair, Tetris Effect isn't exactly the pixel pushing, polygon counting game that would not be able to be run on, say, like an Xbox 360 and still look incredible.
Oh, yeah. But actually, looking at, if you've played the game... And,
I have on both PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, seeing the graphics and the images they use in the background for the Tetris game area was quite impressive. And regarding Gears, I mean, that's the first game I started to play on there, and I actually felt a little bit, what's the word I use? Woozy? Is that the right word to use, basically? Now, was that because I'm not used to what my eyes are visually looking at that point of view with a lot of going on? But I did sort of feel a little, not sick, but I just felt a bit queasy.
Because of the 60 FPS? It's actually the opposite way than you should feel, really. Because there's, you're seeing smoother images.
Yeah, but it was just, I mean, that cleared up after a little bit. And but Gears, the technology behind that game is incredible. I mean, even the cutscenes are 4K 60 Hz as well. So they've really gone all guns blazing with that game. And very impressed with that. Planet Coaster I haven't actually tried yet, because I haven't played a roller coaster tycoon type simulator in a long time, but I just felt like putting that on there.
Yeah, I downloaded that, but I haven't started it.
No. Forza Horizon 4, that looks incredible. It took a while to download, because even though I downloaded the game, and then it does it, then it comes back and says, oh, you need an update for the Lego expansion. Oh, you need an update for the other expansion. So that took a bit longer to do, but that was fine. I was too busy doing other things to worry about that downloading. But the cars, how smooth that runs, it's pretty impressive, to be honest.
I've downloaded that to play, but I haven't tried it yet.
But it is a good game. I'm very fond of that franchise. But yeah, really, really good. Do you have anything you want to say about your Xbox from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. First off, talking about the device itself, I think the build quality, it feels really, it's a very nice, solid piece of kit. The box itself is a fingerprint magnet, because you very quickly get marks on it, which I think is a bit of a shame. But it's got a really nice small footprint if you have it in the upright shoebox sort of orientation, or chimney, as you've described it. And if you have it on its side, it does look a lot like a Lego brick. And my son on his one uses it as a Lego brick orientation. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to depend on a lot of things. I mean, this is probably easier than it will be for the PlayStation when that comes out for people.
Yeah.
Due to the size.
Well, that's 15.4 inches tall, which is huge. But anyway... So, in terms of, let's talk about the controller first off. So, my impression of the controller was that the build quality is definitely improved over the standard controller, and it feels somewhere that it's positioned between the standard Xbox One controller and the Elite in terms of build quality. The bumpers are smoothed off and feel, they feel a little bit smaller to me. I like the textured grip on the triggers and bumper as well. It comes with a USB-C slot. I don't know about you, but did you use your batteries from your old controllers in this one?
I am, but obviously my old charge kit is for the other controller.
Yeah, but you only need to change the lead.
Well, I use the one I didn't realise until I actually looked, but I got one in here that I use for my phone.
Right.
And that's identical. So the actual charger for the phone, which plugged into this socket down here, I just plug that in and charge it up that way.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I bought the separate sort of, the new one, because all of my other controllers have all got charges in them, and I thought, well, I might as well have one in that one as well. And that comes with a nice long USB-C cable. The one thing I really am pleased about this controller is the fact that the bottom of the controller is exactly the same as the previous Xbox One controller. Why is that important? Backward compatibility. Because I use ChatPad, and I have been able to directly connect my Xbox One ChatPad onto the Series X controller, and that is fantastic.
I don't know if I've got one anymore. I think I have one for the 360.
Yeah.
Which would have been different anyway, I think.
It is, yeah, it is different again. And I've got them on the 360 as well, but in terms of just using the normal controller and having that, and I know you've got the new share button in the middle, but I can still capture by the programmable buttons on the chat pad to capture a video or capture a photograph at the press of the button anyway. And it feels more natural than reaching in the middle to reach onto the chat pad for it, but that makes you used to it.
And there's no sharp edges to this, if you know what I mean, either, compared to some of the older models?
No, because I'm actually, I've got a spare controller I've using the Robot White, because Argos sent me the wrong one.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I wanted the blue one, and they sent me the white one. And I thought, I can't be bothered. And then I got a nice email from Argos apologising, blah, 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 which, you know, I'll wait and see what happens as a result of that. But I've been using a white one. And I think there was a lot of problems reported with the old white controller, that they did have those sharp edges and that they weren't refined very well enough. And I think that they've learned from that whole debacle that they had with those older white controllers, because they did feel quite cheap and plasticky. But what I also like is the fact that they've got rid of sticking rubber on the back. I hate the fact that they keep putting rubber on the back of controllers because it makes your hands sweat. And
well, you know me in hot hands. If I can't.
There's lots of matron sort of jokes that I could say about that, but I'm not going to. But in terms of that, they've got the textures background like the triggers, and they're brilliant. It's much better. Feels a lot better. So the controller, as far as I'm concerned, is a definite plus for this console. The console itself, while I think the build quality is great, I do think that the eject button and the power button feel a bit cheaper quality compared to the rest of it, shall we say. Just personal point of view, you might think different. But the one thing I think I was probably a little bit disappointed with about the console is that the operating system is exactly the same as what you and I are used to on the Xbox Series X. Xbox One X, yeah. And all things
is that
considered,
a bad thing?
Yes, it is, because this is a new console. I would have wanted it to do something a bit different. Now, I am really looking forward to the PS5 because of some of the innovations, which I'll talk about next week when I've had my greasy little mitts on a PS5, about what they're doing in terms of the operating system and these new cards. And I have to be honest about this. This is directed at people like me because it's all about trophies and achievements and, 100% in games and stuff like that, that these innovations are aimed at. And at the moment, I think that they're limited to first-party exclusives. But Microsoft started achievements, and they're now playing lip service to them. They've taken off the official club pages off the store, so you can't go in and check out, see what the achievements are like, check out other bits and bobs about the game before you buy. You have to go and look on your iPad or whatever. I don't like the fact that they've changed the iPad companion either. I was quite happy with it being like the PC version, but they've completely messed that up now. So they've done a lot of good, but they've done some bad. And for me, as an achievement hunter, the Xbox isn't cutting it the way it used to, the way that the Xbox One did. And these problems have been in existence since the last couple of versions of the operating system when they changed over to this Xbox Series X style. And I don't like it. And I have fed back, because obviously we're in the preview program, I have fed back, this is no good, you need to do this, that and the other, but they're just not paying attention. And I know that there are other people who do achievements who would feel similar. And ironically, Sony have gone the complete opposite to Microsoft and said, we're going to do all of this about trophies, which, again, I'll talk about next time because this is about the X. So, to me, that was a real negative about the new console. However, plus side, the SSD is fantastic. But I have found out something else about the Quick Start, or at least what it appears to me to be about the Quick Start. The whole thing about the Quick Start thing in the SSD drive is you obviously can multiple restart. You're going to games quickly from one another, and it takes a few seconds, and you're back in where you were. That only appears to work if you have your Xbox switched to instant on. If you have your Xbox Series X set to power saving mode, that doesn't work. It starts the game from the beginning and goes through the title screen and stuff like that, because that's happened to me with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. First couple of days, I left my Series X on instant on, just so that it'll download in the background all of the updates and start overnight.
Yeah.
But then I switched it back to power saving mode because I don't want to pay, more than is necessary for the electricity for, running an Xbox when it's not, when there's no need for it to be on. I am from Yorkshire. At the end of the day, a Yorkshireman is a Scotsman with the generosity removed. So,
really.
So that to me, it's sort of like, again, it's another thing of, well, why can't you just have quick resume, even if you're doing power off? Now, other people might be saying, no, that's not what I've experienced. If you have seriously got your Xbox on power saving mode and it's doing that, mine isn't. Mine's restarting the game.
I've heard
menu.
You can, if you leave that in, always on all the time. But at the end of the evening, if you just turn off everything at the socket, when you power it back up, you will still have quick resume.
I didn't think it liked being switched off.
No, you can even power it. You can even unplug the lead out the back of the socket. The kettle lead, as we'll call it. Now it's not really a kettle lead, it's a figure of 8 lead, isn't it? But you unplug that for 2 days and plug it back in, you still get quick resume.
All right, okay. Well, I might give that a try.
So leave it back on as it was, but I would say just test it, because apparently it does work. You can just unplug it at the mains. But next morning when you come in and you want to use it, power it up. Yeah. And you can still do it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good to know. I'll might try giving that a go. In terms of, you've mentioned about your ramp and compatibility. But I would also say, in terms of mine, mine is connected to an amp, but before it goes into an amp, it's also connected into a 6-way HDMI switch, which operates up to 60 frames per second at 4K, and is a powered HDMI
What's that for?
Switch.
Why have you got that there in front of it?
Because I have all of my game consoles going into one input on my amp.
Right. So
that automatically changes. If I switch off the Xbox and switch on the PlayStation, the switch changes it over.
How many? What have you got? What's your inputs on your amp then?
Oh, I've got loads of inputs on my amp, but there's another reason why I've done this as well, and that is because I didn't want to be constantly HDMI lead swapping, because I've also got a video capture card. Now, what happens is that my switch outwards goes into a HDMI splitter. So the console goes into the hub, the HDMI hub. It then goes through a switch, which again is rated for 4K 60 frames per second. And it splits the signal. One goes to the amp, and then from the amp to the TV, and the other one goes to the PC for recording. So it means that all I ever have to do is just switch on whatever device I want, and I don't have to mess about with changing HDMIs over and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because all mine just go into the back of the amp anyway, so
but
all in and one out.
Yeah, but mine's significantly more complicated than that because of all of this, and what it means is that I can record with no effort at all any console that I've got plugged in HDMI, and that's why I've done it that way, and it's worked fine. I've had no screen disappearances or anything like that. So you can get it to work, but my recommendation is have a HDMI switch that's powered, because that is separately powered to, it doesn't. A lot of HDMI switches tend to pull power off the HDMI or maybe connect to your USB. This is a completely separate sort of solution. But it's it works fine. So I'm really happy about that. So you've mentioned that you've played Destiny. Did you want to talk any more about Destiny, or?
Well, yeah, I've just got a load. I've got loads there. I mean,
okay. Should I talk about a couple of games I've got, because I've got Destiny as well, and we can use that as a sort of segue then.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right. So one game that I did buy, which was Bright Memory. So Bright Memory, also known as Bright Memory Episode 1, is basically a first-person hack-and-slash shooter video game developed by a Japanese independent developer, FYQD, evidently. It was originally stated that this game had been the work of a single person. If it has, I mean, wow. But basically working in his spare time, and it's developed using the Unreal 4 engine. But it was released earlier on Steam last year as a sort of like tech demo to a full game. The story, obviously you're in episode 1, the story seems to pick up about midway through the episode, what I would expect the episode. There's no real introduction. You just sort of like fall straight into the action, more or less.
So what are you playing this on, by the way?
Series X.
Okay.
And it's a Series X rated game.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a launch title for the Series X, day one. You can tell basically that this is a sort of like a Chinese or Japanese game, just because of the very nature of that sort of gameplay that is around this. It feels sort of very sort of Devil May Cry-ish sort of feel to it, but with more of the Japanese, Chinese, je ne sais quoi, all I can really say. And basically what this is just waves of enemies that you fight. You fight using various different weapons. You've got an EMP, a sword, you've got a shotgun, you've got a hand pistol, you've got a machine gun. I more or less used the machine gun and the sword as the weapons of my choice throughout the game. When you kill enemies, you get XP, which can then be traded for improvements to weapons and more powers, and then you just rinse and repeat over and over again. There's very, very minimalistic puzzle solving in there, nothing that will take you more than a minute to sort of figure out. And it's a very short game. My first playthrough was about 30 minutes. But,
oh, really?
Yeah, and this is like $6.99 or something like that. But, and this is a big but, the idea is to rinse and repeat that game. So, you go into the game the next time with more XP, with all of your unlocks, all the stuff like that, and basically try and get an SSS rating on everything. Overall, the game looks fantastic, and it shows, some of what maybe the Series X is going to be capable of in the future. I think it'll be interesting to see what is effectively less of a game and more of an extended tech demo how that would fit in terms of a full game where there is a story narrative, because you're quite clearly picking up bits of the story and they're a little bit incoherent as to what you're doing there, who you are, why you're there, all of these sort of standard questions that you would expect to be pretty much answered by the opening parts of a game, unless that's the whole point of the game, is to make you find that out as part of your path of discovery. But it's not bad. It's a bit of fun. It's like I said, it's more of a glorified tech demo than it is a full game. Well, it's not a full game. It's very short. but worth a crack if you want to, see something that looks visually quite spectacular when you're playing it. So you never know, Steve, it might be worth you having a look.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that on the
Series X?
No, is that on Microsoft Store? Is it?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of reward points I've not used yet.
Yeah.
I normally use for the Ultimate per month anyway, but I might use it for that. Give it a go.
Well, it's something else to play on the console, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is fun. So yeah, give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Next game I want to talk about is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So as you know, last week I talked about this and said I thought it was good so far, but I wanted to play a bit more of it. Well, I've got more of it now. I've also got to play it on the Series X.
Did you start from the scratch?
I chose not to in the end.
Oh, okay.
I think I wanted to kind of just... I progressed well enough into the game to have made it maybe feel a little bit, I don't really want to play that much more of it again. So I decided to just carry on. And in terms of the way that the game looks, there is a difference between the Series X and the Xbox One X. The skin tones, stuff like that, looked a lot better on the Series X, as did all of the stuff that you would expect with lighting and all of that. Everything, the whole game ran a lot smoother. Again, it's that difference between a game running at 30 frames a second and 60, which is massive.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, not a massive difference, but a noticeable difference if you've played both. It's right. In terms of the game, a bit more discussion about that. The skill tree in the game, I've got to say, while there might be lots of skills in this game, I am not a fan at all of the skill tree. I think that they have really, really cocked it up.
Is there too much there then, is it? Or?
No, I don't know. That's the whole point. Because the skill tree opens up like a fogged area as you progress. So in previous skill trees, you've known if you unlocked, say, one ability, that would lead to another ability later on.
You could see before you chose, basically. Yeah,
exactly. Now you can remap for free your skills at your skill award points at any time. So some people might think it's a non-issue, but for me, I don't like the fact I can't say I want to focus on these particular skills. I want to go for these first off because I can't see them. And that to me is really poo-pooer, and it's really goes against what they've done in the last two Assassin's Creed games.
Because you like to choose a way to play the game, and by earning the skill points, where you're going to end up at what point to say that's how I want to play the game with all those attributes. But this time, you're seeing a map that you don't know. It's basically going to be pot luck then.
More or less.
It's like a roulette wheel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more or less that way. I just don't like it. I think they have really, really cocked it up. And I'm just not a fan at all. I think it's very, very poor implementation and a really bad conscious choice that they have made in the design of this game. Not to the point it's broke the game, but to the point of it irks me every time I have to start thinking about awarding skill points. Moving on from that, there are areas in the game where you can find ability books. These are sort of like hidden areas. If you find them, you'll find a book within there, and then basically you read that book and it teaches you the skill, which is fantastic because it's another way of unlocking your skills. Obviously, if you really want to kind of cheat to get the skills that you want quickly, you can look them up online. I'm sure that people will have YouTube videos or whatever on there. But if you don't, I think it's a good way that they've done it in that respect. But the skill tree, terrible.
I suppose you can look at online to get a screenshot of the whole skill tree. So
yeah, but will it give you the detail? Will you be able to explore it in the way that you want to? That's my point. You know, because the whole point of this game is it's about stats and, you know, and it's an RPG, but yet they tie you both your hands behind your back and blindfolding you before you can actually decide what direction you want to go. It's so stupid.
Going to sit you in a room, spin you in circles, go, right, hit the button, what you get.
Yeah, it is a completely stupid choice that they've made, but, you know, let's not name that point. The game looks absolutely beautiful as well. I found that the best way to do combat in the game is to use shields as your, you know, sort of like defensive weapon rather than using two-handed weapons, because basically when you're in, you know, you're doing a raid or you're in a fight in any way, you have the possibility of, if you block at the right moment, a bit like in the other Assassin's Creed games, it would sort of stun the character. Well, on characters now, these characters will drop to the ground, and it means that you can do a finishing move on them. So I've gone into a castle, and I thought, I'm not going to bother doing the stealth bit. You know, gone into like this, you know, castle, keep or whatever it was, this massive place.
Yeah.
Loads of guards, and I just fought them all, and there was only me. I didn't do a raid. I raided on my own and wiped out everybody who was there, and that's just because I kept blocking at the right time. They went down like a sack of spuds, and then I squashed the head with the shield. And there's some lovely animations of heads being disembodied and stuff like that as well. I mean, the combat is visually brutal, as you would expect it to be because it's Vikings. Now, another great plus I'm going to say about this game is it's starting to link back to Assassin's Creed again, because I think that Origins and Odyssey felt disembodied from the main story. The link to those two games, to the other stories in Assassin's Creed, was when you came out of the Animus and you played the woman. Now, that's still there in this game, but early on in this game, your brother introduces you to, they don't say assassins, but he says that these are his allies from overseas. And he says, they're working in dark to protect the light, which is obviously the Assassin's Creed sort of motto, isn't it? And that's linking them back, and they're against this other faction, which you don't say are Templars, but you know that they are Templars by the description. So thank God someone's actually said, do you know what? We've had 2 Assassin's Creed games without actually having any assassins in them. You've also got the hidden blade, but your character wears the hidden blade on the outside, so it's the obvious blade, I suppose. But it's nice to have that back again as well.
So is the story progressing like you would say some of the old Assassin's Creed games were, because you were, historian theoretically in that world?
Yeah, and in terms of it, I feel that this game feels much more like an Assassin's Creed game, but with the modern slant. And that might be partially due to, and I believe I'm right in this, although don't quote me, but I think that the producer or the director or whatever of this game also did Assassin's Creed 3. Okay. Or it might have been Black Flag. I think it was one of those two. And you can feel that because Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag had a lot of similarities, even though they're, different, sort of scenarios. There was a lot of similarities between those two games. And I feel that presence in this game, which I think is a good thing, because it's knitting the stories back together. Don't get me wrong, I loved Origins. I absolutely loved and adored Odyssey. But I did feel that they were a little bit dislocated apart from the Animus bits from the rest of the story, what was going on. So this is, this is good as far as I'm concerned, bringing back in the whole Assassins and Templars sort of approach. And just really loving the game. The textures on faces, stuff like that. When it comes to the game, much better on the Series X. Cool. There is a difference. You can see pot marks in the skin and all of that sort of stuff, which you couldn't really see in the Xbox One X version.
Yeah. So obviously the map again is probably hidden, isn't it, as you use it to and walk through the map?
No, the map's not hidden. It's not clouded by like a fog of war, as it were. They only seem to decide to do the fog of war effort on the skill tree. But the map you get to see obviously your homeland at first, and then when you get through to go to England, then you see the English map.
Yeah.
So that's where I sort of like am now. You have to basically travel to places using your longboat, which is sometimes can feel a little bit long. That's not a pun or anything. That's just it can make travelling to places feel a little bit of a pain in the backside.
So you have to go around the country instead of across it?
Yeah, basically. So a couple of bits where they could do with tweaking the game, I think. But one thing that a new mechanic that they've also put in as well is if you're using your bow and arrow, then part of the enemy will glow. So like the hand, the leg, the shoulder, whatever. And if you shoot an arrow into that part of the body, it will immediately make them stun. So you can run up to them and do a finishing move on them.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different mechanics to the previous game, enough to make the gameplay feel slightly different, but at the same time, it's still familiar.
So you pleased with the game overall?
Oh, very pleased with the game. Yeah, definitely glad I picked it up. You know, I mean, Assassin's Creed, I'm a massive fan. The only Assassin's Creed game that I've not completed is actually Syndicate.
Oh, I've completed that one.
Yeah, I've not completed that one. Weren't you the Ravens in that?
I can't remember now.
I was sure that
the one in Paris was before that, wasn't it? I think the one in Paris came before it.
Yeah.
Brought out.
And the one in Paris, Unity, is actually really good now.
That's another one I completed. The only one I haven't really completed was I think Origins, probably.
You see, Origins, again, I really
and
enjoyed
also the one
Origins.
before that. I think the one before that, because which one was it? I can't remember now. Which came first? The Egyptian one came first, didn't it? And then the Greek one.
Yes, Egyptians and Greek.
Yeah.
Yes, in terms of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, you were the Ravens, and that ties in nicely to the clan that you're in, which is sort of like Ravens something or other in this game. So it's like that sort of like nice continuation, so that so you're seeing the link to the ancestry in terms of the older new Assassin's Creed that's further on in the story, as it were, further on in time, because that's at Victorian England. So yeah, it's really interesting. I wish you'd get rid of the modern day Animus, or at least make more of it. Maybe have one where it focuses on the modern day Animus character, but you keep going back into lots of different characters like Ezio and all of the others.
That was my favourite, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 is always the best. That's a classic one. And I like 3 Brotherhood as well. The whole Ezio thing, because Ezio was such a lovable character, and I think that the next lovable character that for me that I liked as as who you played was in Odyssey, and I played Alexius. I know you played Cassandra, but I liked the character of Alexius. I thought he was quite funny. So yeah, but yeah, I'm still enjoying Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think if you've played Assassin's Creed before and you've never liked it, you're not going to like this one, so I wouldn't bother. But it's again a worthy entry into the list of games, with just that major flaw about the skill tree. Such a bad choice.
Yeah, I can't believe they've done that, to be honest. I really can't.
It's complete stupidity, and it goes into the opposite way of what you would expect from an RPG.
Yeah. I don't think any other game's done that. Any RPG I've played over the years, going back to Bethesda or anything. No,
because you've always focused where you wanted to go.
That's why I call it a skill tree, because you're looking at that tree and you want to branch off to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Go on, Steve. Destiny 2.
Okay,
Beyond Light.
Before we start, on, I think it was Friday last week, we had a live event. Or was it Monday? No, it was Monday night. That was right. Yeah, it was Monday.
Yeah.
Going to Tuesday. And there were a few server issues because you had to download a patch first before you could do it. And what happened is you had to go to a certain point on the tower, and you were then taken to the ground level where all the locals live. Mm-hmm. And you ended up on some platform by some buildings where you would see the traveller with the huge, obviously the big globe you got, which was all broken up from the rest of the story. That all reformed, and then when that happened, you then saw the map and you saw the 4 planets disappear, leaving that space area, and then it sort of went dead on you. There was another bit more, but apparently I don't know what happened. It didn't go to plan, but PC users were okay. They actually got a taster of the first part of the new game with the campaign. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that just it all blacked out, which I thought was quite good actually. You got a shader for the privilege, and I think I was up till 3 in the morning doing that. So I didn't really go to bed because I wasn't at work. But yeah, really good. Really enjoyed that. Anyway, so moving on to this week. So before we start, when we get into the bulk of it, I just want to talk about the loading screen and something we've not really mentioned about with the games and that. So I've seen a few side-by-side comparisons on YouTube over the last few weeks showing you the differences between the Xbox One X and the Series X with the loading up of Destiny. So what I decided to do is today, I timed from hitting the A button from the accepting the game at the beginning, and then by the time I got and landed in the tower to see what the time was, that was 1 minute 18 seconds. Now, before this, I was out making cups of tea while it was still trying to get to do its stuff. Mm-hmm. Let alone even to get to the screen to choose your character. Let alone even going further than that, then having to sit on the loading screen while you're in orbit around the planet. That's a huge difference in the game. Huge difference. I'm not sure what it would like for the PC. I don't know if you've ever timed it like that, but it must be something similar. I do not know.
The PC tends to be quite quick at connecting. It's very rare that you get a long pause.
Yeah, but I mean, that time I've got there includes all the clicks of the button to choose your character and then click to go to the tower.
Yeah.
That's the whole time it took to do it, and I'm flabbergasted, absolutely flabbergasted at that. But yeah, that's a huge bonus.
The problem is, of course, a lot of the time in terms of like the PC, or even the consoles, some of that is about how quickly you get connected by the server as well.
Possibly, but I think with what they got running in the background, that's not going to be an issue really.
No.
Unless there was issues with the servers, then obviously that you won't get a connection at all. Mm. Obviously, we got to wait till the 8th of December for the visual upgrades, which will be very interesting at least. But I think it is the 8th, isn't it? I think that's what they said. So anyhow, so the campaign itself then. So obviously, I've already completed it, and personally for me, and even looking at the reviews, I think this has been the best that we've had so far for me personally. Mm-hmm. One little teeny weeny negative to that is they didn't really explain too much why the 4 planets had disappeared. It was mentioned once, but I suppose it doesn't really matter too much because we were all thinking, is everybody dead? But obviously not, because those planets have gone into the vault for another time. So the campaign is around 6 to 8 hours, depending on how you're going to play the game. What I decided to do was to play the first 3 parts of the story, and then I decided to level up my character to 1200, because otherwise, then the drops I'll be getting through the game will be dependent on the level you are at the time you're playing the game. Mm-hmm. And also, there are some levels that 3 would have been tougher if you weren't at a decent point of the game, at least at 1200. And that was a big. That was a little bit of a grind. That was a grind as is, but it wasn't an unpleasant grind. That's all. So once you finish the game, as you're probably well aware, you get the exotic drop, which is the Stranger's Rifle, and you get the so you sort of get that. But with all that went on previously, when we'd all one thing is about this, it'd be interesting to see what other people did, because I know a few did do this. When it was announced it was going on Game Pass, they decided to cancel their their upgrade, didn't they?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think, because the Game Pass is the basic passage onto the game, you will not get the exotic for the Stranger's Rifle, nor the any other parts of it. So that you won't get for another year in time. So only special editions you'll pick it up. So personally,
to be fair, Steve, I don't really think that many people care.
No, it's certain guns. You know, I think it's a great gun. I've been using it a lot, and I've been really enjoying it. But it depends how you want to play the game, to be honest. I mean, I don't mind paying for something that is basically going to last me a whole year. As content goes. So from that point, the Game Pass, you're just going to get the basic part of the tree on the season of the hunt.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see what people think about that. That's fine. I've got no issues with that anyway. When you finish the game, the story will continue, but you have to do the lost sectors to find out what else happens. And there's a lot of branches of things that go on for what you get in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps it going at a fast pace, to be honest. The new exotics that we do get in the game that have been announced, you can only get those via doing the lost sectors, and they will be probably drop at random, except for one of those which you can get very early on. There's a quest you do for the cryo cannon, which is called the Salvation Grip.
Okay.
And oh boy, you want that as soon as you can. That basically shoots out the stasis. So when you fire that off, you fire out ice. So you're basically going to freeze your characters and then just slide into them and bash them in the face or shoot with a shotgun or whatever, and they'll just explode into bits. It's my favourite thing to do right now in the game. And it's so, what's the word? It's such a pleasant thing to do. You know, it's so satisfying. There'll be more parts of the subclass to unlock. I'm doing the Shadebinder, which is for the Warlock, of course. And what I probably will do is the other two characters, I'm going to probably do the same to them once the new update comes out. Right. So I can replay the story with all the snazzy with my new goggles on to see what it looks like from that point of view. Europa is a fun place to explore. I do like the dynamic weather systems with the snowstorms that kick in all of a sudden as well. And it's funny because I was at one point, I didn't know where I was without looking at the map. It was just like snow, and it was all sort of very misty and foggy. But then I would see like these red lights come towards me, as if you remember when we were probably watching Battlestar Galactica back in the day.
Yeah.
And you see these red lights of the eyes of the Cylons, but this is obviously the Vex and whatever, and it was quite good actually. I quite enjoyed that. Cosmodrome's great to go back to again. There's lots to do down there. It's near enough exactly the same map that we had in the first game. There are a couple of bits that you can't go to which aren't in there, but then they're not needed, to be honest. But I did do one of the old strikes earlier on this afternoon. Right. And that brought me back. And yeah, it's brilliant. I'm just enjoying the game. They really sort of hit the mark again on this, and the story's great. Everything they've done about this, it's going to have its ups and downs. There's more content to come as well, other bits and pieces in the maps, So I'm just really pleased with it. PvP I haven't explored yet, reason being because of stasis, and I'm hearing it's a bit of a game breaker at the minute. So I don't need to go to PvP because they are giving you the choice to do certain quests, which are going to be either PvP related or PvE related, so you can do either or. Okay. Such as yourself, for example. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember which quest it was. It gave me three ways to do it. I can either do it by Gambit, I can either do it by the Crucible, or I can do it by Strikes. So I choose Gambit anyway because I do like Gambit. But so there you're going to get a choice to earn those bits and bobs doing the Strikes, which you'll prefer to do rather than Crucible. Yeah, definitely. Should be a bonus for you. Just thoroughly enjoying it. I couldn't even tell you how many hours I put into it. But what am I now? I'm about 12, 15 for my character at the moment. But I haven't unlocked all the other parts of the stasis tree yet. So, and I've got so many quests on the go at the moment. It's unreal. And they've got like 6 or 7 parts to them as well. So, it's all good. Loving it. But not for you. It's not for you. You've not really been into this yet, have you? You've not dipped in.
I've played up until a bit where you go into the cave and all of that sort of stuff. I've got, in terms of Triumph scores, 5,745 on there at the moment.
I should really know what I am actually in a minute, to be honest. I can tell you, because I've got it up at the moment. So how much of the story have you done as well?
Well, up until where you get like the grenades to build the walls and the ice walls and stuff like that.
Oh, only where you get it at a certain point. You don't get it permanently. You're not allowed to use it.
Yeah.
You don't unlock that to the end of the game. Oh, right. I'm on 6,832. There you go.
Yeah.
But
I've only put in a couple of hours on it. I've not played it much at all.
No. Well, you should come onto the Xbox.
I was playing it on PC.
Yeah.
I have played it on the Xbox as well, but now I struggle more with the controller, so I just prefer to go for keyboard and mouse.
Oh, okay.
I find it a much more comfortable way of playing that game. I like playing with controllers, but Destiny, first-person shooters, for me, keyboard and mouse is the best way of playing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, sorry, go on.
There was something I was going to mention actually about the Xbox.
Yep.
Have you played with the disc drive yet at all?
No.
So there's been also, you're going to get to the PlayStation as well. You're going to get all these people saying that, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, it's broken, blah, blah, blah. I did try a movie in 4K. I know we didn't put it to movie, but it's just to test the drive itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much quiet.
Mm.
As much as it is my 4K player quiet, to be honest. The first time I booted up, it was a bit noisy for some unknown reason. Maybe that's never been used. I don't know how that works. But other than that, it's been fine ever since. So, but some people have been complaining about like a ticking noise coming from it. And
I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, I haven't tried to put a game in it yet because I have no need to at the moment.
Yeah.
But I will still probably use my 4K player for the for movies anyway.
Yeah. I think I probably would as well. In terms of just thinking about Destiny, I did have a lot of connection problems, but I think it was over that period when everybody was installing everything on their Xboxes and everybody was, installing Call of Duty and stuff like that. But for 2 or 3 days, I just kept getting kicked. And annoyingly, it started off and I just got to see the stranger. And she was started talking, and it kicked me off the animation and onto the director, and I was sort of like, oh, God. But fortunately, when I tried going back to, reinitiate the story, it restarted the animation again, so it wasn't so bad. Yeah.
There is actually collectibles in the game as well.
Yeah.
I did find one, but I don't know where it's gone, but I'll have to see if it's still there. There's like a penguin, for example, you can find.
Mm. And
on the ice cap, at the beginning of there's 2 pages you can drop in Europa, but where you've got the stranger and there's like this sort of tent in there, you can place these items around the room,
right?
Sort of like trophies.
Yeah, so it's a bit like the ones that were on Mars before.
Mm. So yeah, it's something else to just remember. So yeah, all good. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's about it for gaming for me this week.
Cool.
So let's move on to movies, TV, and streaming. All right, Steve, have you got any news? Because there is one bit of news I was going to raise about Des O'Connor.
Yes, I saw that this morning. Yeah, bless him. He was 88 and passed away.
Yeah, such a shame. And Bobby Ball passed away this week, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, he did. I don't think a lot of people will probably know who Des O'Connor was. But
I don't know. I think a lot of our listeners are because we're all... Most of our listeners are in the 40s. Right. So I think we all know who Des is.
Yeah, because he was a bit of an entertainer back in the day, and then turned to chat show host as well.
Yeah. And Tommy Cannon and Bobby Ball, for those of you who are too young to know who he was, they used to be like the Ant and Dec of the 80s. For want of a better term, because they did the Saturday night entertainment, didn't they?
Yeah,
the Cannon and Ball show.
The same class as Ant and Dec, but yeah, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, the documentary that was about Bobby Ball tonight actually put them as, like the 80s version of Ant and Dec.
Yeah.
but I'd already said that, so I just found it quite amusing that someone had said that. But they used to have that show.
But you can put it when you have a straight man and a comedian, the two of you sort of this pairing. The same way you would have had the two Ronnies, or you would have had Morecambe and Wise over the years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who are younger and don't know who we're on about, if you've watched Not Going Out, Bobby Ball was the father of, I forgot what his name is, Lee Mack's character.
I don't remember that show, actually.
Not Going Out. It was where a bloke's living with a woman and his best friend's like very effeminate.
Mm.
And he ends up marrying her in the end. It's quite a good comedy with Lee Mack. You want to have a look at it. So anyway, let's move on. So we never seem to be announcing deaths these days. I suppose it's part of getting older. Right, so Blu-ray DVD. Steve, do you want to do the Blu-ray DVD releases? So,
November the 16th, we've got Amazon Hotbox. We have, this is DVD apparently, Sherman Heston Presents the Bible. I don't understand how that works, but there you go. Whether or not it's to do with his movies he did, I don't know there.
Well, he did the movie The Bible, didn't he?
Oh, he's done it. He did quite a few, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Danger Within, Blu-ray DVD. Dawn of the Dead Limited Edition, Blu-ray 4K. I talked about that last week. Disney Classics, the complete collection, 57 discs between Blu-ray and DVD. Eric Clapton's Crossroads Guitar Festival, 2019 on Blu-ray. Eyewitness, Blu-ray DVD. 5 Easy Pieces, the Criterion Collection on Blu-ray. Frank Herbert's Dune, the TV miniseries from 2000 on DVD. Girlfriends on the Criterion Collection. Hope Gap DVD. The Ishiro Honda double feature. H-Man and the Battle in Outer Space. Masters of Cinema Blu-ray. Kate and Cody Series 1 DVD. Kings of New York Special Edition on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray. Late Phases, Night of the Wolf Blu-ray. We'll see what. Life Series 1 on DVD. Martha, Masters of Cinema Limited Edition Blu-ray. Paw Patrol Pup-Tastics 8 DVD collection. I haven't got a Scooby-Doo's what that is, but there you go.
It's a kid's see.
Yeah, it is. Pink Floyd, Delicate Sound of Thunder, the 2019 remix Blu-ray. Play for Today, Volume 1, 4-disc box set for Blu-ray. Rogue, starring Megan Fox, which I think I've heard about that one, on DVD. Sailor, the complete TV series for BBC. SEAL Team Season 3 on DVD. Stage Mother, Blu-ray DVD. The Anderson Tapes, which has got Sean Connery in, funny enough, on Blu-ray. The Evil Dead 4K Blu-ray, must be another reissue. The Legacy Blu-ray, The Painted Bird, Blu-ray DVD. Wreck Experiments on Blu-ray. Tremors 7 movie collection on DVD. And Tremors Shrek Island Blu-ray DVD. Westworld Season 3, Blu-ray 4K Blu-ray DVD, and Westworld Season 1 to 3, Blu-ray 4K Blu-ray DVD. And the last one there, we got Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf on DVD.
No, what was Virginia Woolf afraid of?
No, was it? No.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is. I don't think it's the same Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
No, this must be the sequel then.
Yeah.
God knows, but yeah.
Interestingly enough, that DVD Classics one for the Disney is £224.99 for the Blu-ray, which I actually think for 57 discs, that's not bad.
I know, because some of these collections are so big, they do seem a lot, but when you break it down per disc.
Yeah. Definitely not bad. Okay, so Blu-ray DVD charts. At number 5, staying at number 5, we've got the Harry Potter The Complete Collection. At number 4, up from 18, we've got Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. At number 3, a new entry, we've got Les Miserables, The Stage Concert Original Cast Recording. At number 2, a re-entry, we have V for Vendetta. And at number 1, a re-entry, we've got Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and I don't think it's any coincidence that both of those were recently released on 4K.
Yeah, probably that's the reason why they're there.
Probably, yeah. And V for Vendetta, what a fantastic cut that is. Second best Blu-ray I've got, I think. So, what we've been watching. I know you've got a couple of films, so I'll just briefly mention, I've been watching The Mandalorian and Discovery. So, in terms of The Mandalorian, I'm going to say I'm actually really enjoying this season. They are actually linking in Return of the Jedi. They're linking in the Clone Wars and the linking in Star Wars Rebels into this now.
Okay. I mean, I did see there's quite a few bits and pieces trailer-wise on the on ITV at the moment for this. I mean, we must give a shout-out that if you're an Ultimate subscriber on Game Pass, you can get a 3-month subscription of Disney Plus at the moment.
Yeah, that was a good boom for it, wasn't it? But
yeah,
don't go for it now if you want to see all of The Mandalorian. Wait a few weeks until the whole series is run, and then go for that 1 month free.
So I might actually go for it then.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy The Mandalorian. Really, really good. Actually, funny enough, I did watch a movie this week. I watched The Golden Circle, and obviously it's got the same guy in it who's also Mando in the Mandalorian.
Isn't that Tom Hanks?
What?
Golden Circle.
No, Kingsman, The Golden Circle.
Oh, sorry, well, you didn't say that, did you? I think you said The Golden Circle. There's a film called Golden Circle, that's what I'm saying.
No, Kingsman, The Golden Circle. And the guy on there who's the Burt Reynolds lookalike. What's his name?
I know the guy that had the whip.
Yeah. Do you know, his name's completely gone out of my head. That's really annoying. Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
That's it. He looks so like Richard Burton on that movie. It's unreal. But he's Mondo, the Mandalorian, and evidently there's been a bit of infighting on Star Wars about him wanting to show his face more. I think that they might be writing that into the story shortly, the way that things are going. It's quite interesting, but it's really good show, really excellent. Discovery have found the Federation.
Oh, spoilers! I've not got that far yet.
Well, you know, at the end of last week's episode, they said that they were going to go there, so it's not, not really spoilers. I'm not going to say what happens, other than to say, shall we say that Discovery gets a less than hello welcome?
Well, you would expect that anyway, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, you would. And
right now, they get an unhelpful reception from everybody at the minute.
Yeah,
where they are.
Well, the last couple of episodes have been quite hopeful, and then this is sort of like snapped, into a we don't trust you sort of approach, which I think will be addressed over time. But I actually am starting to get some theories about Michael Burnham's mother, and the fact that there is, there was the temporal accords and stuff like that, because obviously one of the questions that Michael's trying to find out, other than what is the burn, and I really do hope that they get this answered soon, because I don't want this to be the ongoing sort of like theme right throughout the whole of the show. To me, I think that this show should about them bringing hope to a galaxy that has separated itself in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my fingers crossed for that. But of course, her mother was, in the same century as what they were, and she was expecting to be able to meet up with her, but she's found no trace of her mother.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually quite interesting, the thought, because her mother went back into the future, and then they went into the future afterwards. So did she transfer over to the new future, or did she stay where she was, or what happened? And there's lots of stuff going on with Giorgio and stuff like that. So it's getting quite intriguing about how that's going to work. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Discovery. I think that the show's found its footing now, much like The Next Generation found its footing at the end of the 3rd season.
Okay, let's take your word for it.
Yeah. So go on then, Steve. Tell us about The Babysitter.
Well, yeah, so a couple of weeks ago I did mention another film I watched, which also had Samantha Weaving in.
Mm-hmm. And
so I thought, I'll sit and watch this the other night. So I don't want to give too much away, because some of these films, they've been on Netflix for quite a while, and they're sort of made by Netflix, I think, as well. But basically what it's about is the events where one evening takes an unexpected turn for the worse when a young boy tries to spy on his babysitter. And his babysitter is pretty hot, should we say, at least. And so there are turn of events that happen. The first part of the film is basically his school life and the babysitter, they're really jealous as good friends. He's only young, but she's, let's say, much, much older. But he does have a bit of a crush on her, and I can see why. But, when he's spying, this is maybe a slight spoiler, but if you've seen the trailer, you will see it anyway. But they're playing Spin the Bottle.
Right.
And while they're playing Spin the Bottle downstairs, he's looking upstairs on the landing between two slats of the top of the unit there. He's looking for on the staircase. And B gets out these two big knives and put them straight into this guy's neck. Blood goes everywhere as they're trying to catch it with a cup. And basically they're a death cult and they need to drink the blood. And he witnesses all this. You know, a bit of a shock for a little boy, I must admit, the best of times. So it is a horror comedy. There is plenty of gore in this as well. Just a good, park your brain to one side and just watch a film. It's all right for that. The sequel that came out, this came out in 2017. And then recently what came out was the Babysitter, the Killer Queen, which is basically the sequel. This takes place 2 years after the event of the Babysitter. Well, we have the same kid, Cole, is trying to live with what he witnessed and dealt with on that night, and that takes a couple of turns as well. I don't want to say too much about the story. I could be just if you want to see it, it's well worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
But it weren't bad actually. They both get about 6.8 to 5.8 on Internet Movie Database for a rating, so that's not too bad. And they're both 15 certificate, but again, load of gore, bit of comedy in there, and good fun. I say even the missus enjoyed them, so I always have to how do I put it? I always have to vent stuff through her to see what what she liked. But she was well chuffed with it, and well worth a watch on Netflix. I mean, I know that the biggest thing at the moment on Netflix is going to be The Crown, which starts tonight, and you can now binge watch the latest season, which is a story to do with Princess Diana.
Right.
So I might actually, as much as I've seen some of The Crown, just bits and bobs of it, parts of the episodes through the last part of the season, but I'm quite interested in this part because I sort of grew up around this sort of story that we're going to see, with the wedding and everything else and how she died, and with Margaret Thatcher as well. So I'm not sure how they tell the story, but they're already all up there to watch, so you can actually binge it at some point. So, but you tell her, she does look like Princess Diana if you ever look at the screenshots. Pretty impressive there. It's something I picked up, I haven't actually sat and watched yet, and I have seen the film before, but I picked up the Criterion collection of George Romero's first zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
So I've been meaning to pick that one up, and I wanted the Criterion collection of those because they got like a second disc with loads of extras and bits and pieces on it. So I should look forward to going back and watching the first greatest zombie horror movie that came out in the 60s. Which it works well. It's in black and white as well because that's how old it is. But it works well for that. But I look forward to seeing that at some point. So have you got anything else you picked up lately? Got any?
I got Outland. So that's the Sean Connery science fiction movie. Mm-hmm. I got some more ships for my Star Trek collection of Eagle Moss ships.
Yeah, so pretty impressive, huh?
Well, they had an offer on for £70. You got a hardback sort of, coffee table book of Starfleet starships, and then you got the Enterprise Dreadnought class from All Good Things, the one with the 3 nacelles and the phaser cannon and all of that. And then you also got 2 other ships of your choice from a group of 4 of them. So I went for the Federation sort of like attack fighter and the Federation training ship, which is the one that Wesley Crusher would have used on, when he was in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
And then I also picked up the Reliant from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, that's one of my favourites from that bunch you got there.
Yeah. But, they look good. And the Enterprise is an XL one as well. And it is quite large. So, yeah, I'm collecting a few of these now. So, I'm going to have to put some shelves to...
I was going to say, as long as you've got somewhere to put them.
Yeah, I've got shelving space. You know. So I'll be putting those up very shortly. But, it's good. It's good. Okay, in that case then, I think we'll probably move on to our listener questions and our poll. All right, so we did a poll, or I did a poll for asking people what they thought of their new next gen or new gen, as it is, because it's no longer next gen, it's this gen, Xbox Series X or S. And I gave people the option of basically saying it was better than they expected, it was pretty much what they expected, or they were a little bit disappointed. It was sort of like a little bit less than they expected. So we had 19% of people who voted said it was better than he expected. The vast majority of people, 54%, said it was pretty much what they expected. And then we had 27% of people who said it was worse than they expected. But nobody made any comment about what it was that they thought was better or worse. So we don't know what that's about. But I think you're always going to get a group of people who either think it's the best thing since sliced bread or the worst thing ever or whatever. I mean, I would say it's what I expected. I feel that the letdown is something I've been aware of for a while, which is Microsoft's seemingly abandonment of a lot of the functionality for trophies. But that's not going to affect most people.
No.
So, and I understand that. But for me, that was the only letdown in the experience. That and the fact that it looks like a shoebox. Or a Lego brick, whichever way around you have it.
It's funny, really, because when you get expansions to the game, like, for example, Destiny, you're not getting any achievements for it.
No, Destiny, Bungie tend not to do that.
No, they did at one point, though. They did.
They did for the Fallen King.
Yeah, but they stopped it.
Rather.
Yeah,
and then they stopped it again. Yeah, they stopped it again. And I, personally, my view is if it's a DLC that's, like Beyond Light, there should be achievements attached to it.
You could have, like, completing the for example, completing the 100% on the season pass, for example, with getting to 100, for example, stuff like that.
Yeah, reach level 100 in the season pass, completing a campaign, passing the whatever threshold, doing so many nightfalls, all of that. Yeah, and I don't know whether or not they have to pay money to put achievements in, or they just can't be asked. But whatever way round, it is one thing that has annoyed the hell out of me about the Bungie games with Destiny 2 and their lack of support for achievements. And also the fact that one of the achievements quite clearly states you have to get a seal. Once you've got a seal, it'll unlock. I've got a seal, it still hasn't unlocked. But ironically, when I reinstalled Destiny 2 and it loaded up for the first time on the Xbox Series X, another achievement did pop, which I'd completed ages ago. So it's very weird how they've done it, but I just it annoys the heck out of me. Does that? Yeah,
considering it's one of the base games I play, it'll be nice to add some achievement points to your tally.
Of course it would. Game. Yeah, of course it would. Of course it would. But I think that Bungie are one of the very, very few game developers who actually don't add achievements for DLC.
I mean, Bethesda did, for example, when we had the Fallout expansions, like Fallout 3, and then we had the different expansions for that. Excuse me, they all came out.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at, for example, Elite Dangerous and their achievements that they're on Elite Dangerous, there are loads. And I mean, an awful, awful lot. I'm just trying to find out exactly how many. So when you look at Elite Dangerous core achievements, there are 3,810 achievements points that you can get in that game.
Crazy, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I need to play that game because I haven't played it in ages.
I'm actually going to have to tweet out that to a few people to see if I get a comeback on it. I'm just curious to know why.
Yeah.
Who says yay or nay to it?
Yeah, copy me into it and I'll... Yeah. Because I think it's wrong. I think any time that there is an expansion on a game, it should be... I think all these things should be uniform. I think it should be base game 1,000, every DLC is 500 gamer score, and they divvy it up however they want. If they want to say, you buy it and you get 500 gamer score, fine. But that's legit, as far as I'm concerned. I know it's not really in the spirit of achievement hunting, but, And likewise, I think that there is discontinuity in PlayStation size, because if they have an achievement, or a trophy, if you get a trophy, a platinum, on a game, you can't get a platinum on every game, because there are some games like Planet Alpha, you can only get a gold. And it should be, if it's a standalone game, 1 platinum means you've got every achievement in that game on the base game. That's it. It has to have a platinum. If you don't do that, your achievement system or your trophy system is broken. And likewise, it should be every DLC on that system should also have a maximum of a gold, because obviously you can't get a platinum when you've already got a platinum. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But any bronze, silvers, or whatever that you get in a DLC should not feed into the platinum for the whole of the game. That should be for the base game only. Because otherwise it's not fair. Someone could get the platinum earlier on and then release 6 DLCs where you'd have to then complete all 6 in order to get the same platinum, which isn't equal. Yeah, so for example, when Fallout 3 came out, now I don't think there was achievements for PlayStation, were there? But no, that went from 1,000 to 1,250, for example, just shot up. Is what the max was. So yeah, interesting. I don't know the rights and wrongs of that. Yeah, they either need to do one or two things: either support them or get rid of them, and support them properly, and it needs to be consistent. Personally, I don't want them to get rid of them, because it's something that I've incorporated into my gaming life, shall we say. And for those people who it doesn't matter to, it doesn't affect them, the fact that they're getting them. But there we go. Anyway, so it's interesting to see what people have said. Like I said, that's my only real gripe about the Series X, is about the lack of achievement support. That and the fact that the console is a fingerprint magnet. Yeah. But having said that, though, I've only touched it a couple of times, the console, and that's because most of the time you switch it on with your controller anyway, don't you? True. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to Mark's question. So Mark, as always, has asked, how important is play anywhere aspect of gaming? Do you or will you use it? Okay. In what reference to? As in, is like around the house or on another? That's what he's asking you. Do you use it and will you use it? Well, yeah, I do on the phone. Yeah. I can sometimes sit in bed and carry on playing a game that I've been playing on the console earlier. Or sit down in the front room while EastEnders is on or whatever. But yeah. I think that you're on about more the xCloud streaming sort of thing. This is play anywhere. Well, I don't play. I won't use a peripheral like this outside of the house anyway. Right. I'm taking it there because I go to work, so I wouldn't take it with me, to be honest. But depends how you want to play a game. If you've got time to play when you go outside the house. Yeah, but isn't the play anywhere more to do with playing on different platforms? Like PC, if you buy it, you get it on PC and Xbox. Yeah, well, I do that with PlayStation, for example. But probably not as much now, because I won't be online. It's only going to be on one console. Okay. But yeah, because I've no need to. Because what I did do, I've got the Xbox in one room, PlayStation in another, and I could then hop in between two and play on Destiny, for example. But now, there's no need for it. I'm not going to pay out again for the expansion anyway and just start playing in the same room with the same one. If there was people who wanted to play on the PlayStation, that might be a different matter, but as it happens, I play sort of
basically Billy no mates anyway on Destiny, so it doesn't make any difference to me. What about yourself?
In terms of, I think there's the two things. I think that there's the streaming and xCloud, and then there's a Play Anywhere. For me, Play Anywhere is a really, really useful feature because it means I only have to buy the game once, and I've got it on 2 different platforms. I've got it on PC, and I've also got it on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 3, because I might have it on my Xbox Series X, and I've got it on my Xbox X. One X, I should say.
1X, yeah.
So, for my point of view, I think that the Play Anywhere bit is really, really good. In terms of the xCloud and streaming, very limited use for it. I tend... The only reason why I use streaming for the Xbox is to stream to my computer monitor, where I might want to watch a movie at the same time as playing a game. And obviously, I'm more limited to do that on my TV because I've only got 1 screen, whereas my PC, I've got 3 screens. So that means I can put a movie on 1 screen and watch or play the game on another, and maybe even keep an eye on YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook or whatever on the other. So for me, it has limited uses, but in terms of the streaming for playing on an iPad or an iPhone, no interest in it at all, because if I want to play a game, I'll just go into my area for in the house for playing games, which is my man cave, and I will do that in there. The rest of the time, I want, if I'm not in the man cave, I want to be giving attention to my family. So I have a very, very hardly drawn line degree of separation.
Yeah, of course.
So that's my answer. Do you want to do his next question?
Okay, yeah. So, do you have any preparations when you do the Sorry, I'll start again. Yeah. Do you have any preparations that you do for the arrival of a new console?
I thought he asked this last week. No.
Not this year.
No.
I sometimes have a little space, about a week before.
Yeah.
Where it would sit, because one goes, one comes in. But that hasn't happened yet due to COVID or whatever I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, no, it's been a bit weird this year that that hasn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah, very true, very true. So, okay, moving on to Alan Cochrane then. Do you think it's been a poor year for video game releases this year, especially on the Xbox? Hardly any exclusive games. I'm going to say, Alan, Xbox are not going down that sort of exclusivity line in the way that it has been traditionally, because it's going to be Xbox and PC. So you're never going to get the Xbox Series X only unless they have an about face.
Well, when we get the new Bethesda games coming out, they will be exclusive because I think they're on the Xbox. But...
Yeah, Xbox platform, which will include PC.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's like Xbox is the Microsoft brand for gaming. You either do it on a Series X, an Xbox One or One X, a Series SX, or you do it on your PC. You have that whole option of, all of those different platforms in order to be able to do it. But it's exclusive to that range of Microsoft-related things. So if you're using a Microsoft operating system, you can play it, and if you're using a Microsoft-built machine, you can play it.
Yeah.
And in terms of, if I think it has been a poor game for video gaming, yeah, it has, because COVID's had an impact. I think that this is probably the worst lineup of launch titles that there has ever been in a lineup of launch titles. But equally, development for these titles is much different these days anyway. I think if you want to go down a traditional line of exclusivity, obviously Sony wins it hands down. But I think if you actually look at what Microsoft's doing, it makes a lot more sense. And even Sony is really going down that route, but they're doing it by stealth and by timed exclusives, which is not the same as an exclusive.
Yeah, because there's, unfortunately, due to Microsoft taking Bethesda, you've got like a Bethesda title there, which is an exclusive to PlayStation for probably a year, maybe. which they're going to honour that contract on that game. But to be honest, what was coming out, I don't think there's. I'm not saying there's a big long list and this list is shorter than the other. That's bollocks to me, I'm afraid. Doesn't mean anything. There's a few games that they've got coming out, but I think worth shouting out about, to be honest.
I kind of feel that exclusivity is something that's just getting in the way of gaming nowadays.
Well, we'd all have another game to play if it weren't that it's been delayed, and that's Cyberpunk, which I'm so looking forward to.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing at the end of the day, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but it just feels that there's something the matter with that game at a deep level because there's been too many delays. I am more worried about that game than anything else because I just...
But it's on too many bloody platforms, that's why. If you stuck to the basics, 4 maybe, not go down every shoebox route of, one man and his dog it's going to be on, you know what I mean?
Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, and Xbox XS.
And the 360 if you're lucky, do you know what I mean? Not the R, mate. This is a joke.
Yeah, just keep on those 4 platforms.
Yeah, we'll have it on Sega next, won't we, you know?
A bit of the Casio watch.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just pointless, absolutely pointless.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But there's going to be a big rush of games in the first quarter of next year anyway.
Yeah.
Leading into the second quarter, so,
Definitely. There's going to be loads of games next year because, hopefully by then we'll have inoculation against COVID. We'll all be able to go back to work, or we'll go back to work in a fashion.
Not that I actually fancy taking it at the moment. I'd rather wait.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a guinea pig on that. I don't want to go into that right now, but,
No, exactly. Yeah, we'll have to see. But, yeah, it's been a bit of a poor game for releases, but I think, Alan, that the way that Microsoft is dealing with video game releases is definitely different now. It's a different approach. Do you do Paul's?
So Paul says, I was watching the Digital Foundry YouTube with Watch Dogs Legion next-gen console and PC comparisons. I was shocked to see that on the new Xbox, the game was running at 4K 30 frames per second. Surely it should be running at 60 for the launch of the new Xbox, which games actually show true power of the new next-gen console. That game's in a mess, personally. I don't think it's right anywhere at the minute. I think they ballsed it up.
It's not the console, it's the software.
Yeah, there's loads of issues. I've been hearing stories of this game not running correctly and all sorts. So I think this is down to Ubisoft and their developers at the moment. There are, if you watch some of the other ones they've done on there, showing you some of the problems the games had when they're doing their comparisons. There is issues, and I know we say there's always issues and patches for games, but this one again seems to be something of an old story that we used to have in games, years ago, which you don't get as much now.
Yeah,
you'll get a patch on day of release, but you don't play a game with issues like you're getting in tearing and characters not doing what they should be doing, jumping out of cars. It's all a bit mishmashy and horrid. So.
When was the first time you ever became aware of game patches? Do you remember?
I don't know, really. It might have been for one of the Halo games, maybe.
Yeah. My first experience with a game patch, and this shows how long ago this is. It was for the game Star Wars X-Wing, right? The original release by LucasArts before it was owned by Disney. And it said, it was compatible with most joysticks. And I had a Microsoft Flight Stick joystick. And it didn't work. And it kept crashing my PC and stuff like this. So I got in contact with LucasArts by phone because the internet wasn't around so much back then. Although it did exist, it wasn't many people had it. And I said, I've got a problem. I've got this joystick. It won't work. What am I doing wrong? They said, oh, no, we've released a patch for that. He said, do you have the internet? I said, no. He said, give me your address. And about 3 weeks later, a 3.5-inch floppy disk arrived in my post. And that was the first game I ever got a patch for. And the download was by Royal Mail.
I mean, back in the day, I remember seeing patches for hardware had to be like a CD sent to the post.
Yeah.
Because, you didn't have it. You couldn't access the internet, and maybe Sony, I think it was for a player of some kind. I needed the latest update for it, so they sent me a CD in the post. Put the CD in, and it just uploaded the patch to the player. But yeah, it's come a long way now, isn't it? We got full big games, and we got servers that could be crashing on huge amount of people taking that data.
Definitely. Okay, let's go on to Justin then. So Justin's saying, how have your gaming tastes and attitude changed over the years? So, for example, while he still loves games as much as he ever has, he feels that things like console exclusivity are more of an irritant, forcing him to buy a particular console if he wanted to play an exclusive, whereas in the past he was genuinely excited to own all consoles.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you're held at gunpoint to a certain degree regarding playing your favourite game.
Yeah.
Although that has changed over the last few years, it's like Final Fantasy, which basically was Sony, wasn't it, all over?
Yeah.
And that's started to change now. So, and the same with Resident Evil.
You see, when I play a Final Fantasy game or a Resident Evil game, it just feels so wrong playing it on an Xbox.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I know it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes against the grain. It's a bit like, it feels like I'm driving the wrong way down the motorway on the wrong side of the road. It doesn't feel right. So what about your game tastes and attitudes? How do you think they've changed?
They have changed with a couple of titles. Call of Duty, I just haven't got time for anymore.
Because you used to be a big Call of Duty player, didn't you, back in the day?
I used to have that every year, but now, take or leave it, to be honest. I think there's probably more of a, how do I put it? The community in Call of Duty isn't like what it is in Destiny.
No.
Let's put it that way. Can give you a sort of sour taste in the mouth. Yeah, I'm not saying all people are like that, but I just had some experience with that I remember in the past. But regarding Destiny, now I've joined up with people I didn't even know and just spoke to them and just got on and played the game and enjoyed it. You know what I mean? You're not moaning about something because they're not using the right gun or they're not using the correct super that they should be using or whatever. You know what I mean? It's more friendly from that point of view.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I would say for me, I'm more interested in gaming now than I was when I was younger, quite ironically. I would say my taste in games has changed because my taste in games before used to be fighter games like Mortal Kombat, like Tekken, all of those sort of games, Dead or Alive. And the other thing I used to be really big into was driving games. And now I play virtually neither game type at all. I've dabbled in Forza, but dabbled is the right word. I've not, gone and fully committed to that game ever that I can think of since Forza 4, something like that.
One thing I can't believe that I'm actually still playing a game that I've been playing since it's come out, and it's like one game. I wouldn't have put money on that in years. I would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some other games I'm looking forward to playing, but the hours I've been putting into this is ridiculous. But it's just it's a game that is not like any other as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? But yeah, crazy.
But yet you got disillusioned with it at one point.
Yeah.
Was it the season of? Wasn't Arrivals? What was the? Season of Dawn or whatever it was.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on that season. It wasn't great.
Do you know what? That was the season I loved the most, and I got the seal on that and everything. And I absolutely thrashed it. And since then, I've just not been able to get back into Destiny.
It's a shame with the story because this new content is superb. Really is good. It has come a long way. Where before we've had some expansion which is very minimal.
Yeah.
Not a lot to it.
Yeah, but I think the other ones have been more DLC, whereas this is an expansion.
Well, yeah,
there's that subtle difference, isn't there?
They were classed as DLC, but they still are. It still is DLC to a certain degree, anyway. still what it says on the tip.
Yeah, but I think when they classify like the Taken King and this one, they give it the grander title of expansion rather than DLC.
Yeah. And it's committed with a year's worth of content.
Yeah.
Which is superb. You know, there's some DLC, should we say, in brackets, you would put it on the game and play it. You'd have it done in a week, and that'd be that part of the game over.
Yeah.
With this type of game and the way it now works, you've got content all year round.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think for the price it is, I think it's damn worth it, to be honest.
Yeah, but it is an annual price. But then again, you know, you look at games like Call of Duty, that's an annual price.
Yeah.
And now they're stiffing you for the season passes to go with it as well.
Mm.
So, you know, when people turn around and say, you know, oh, I wouldn't buy Destiny because it would have cost me £200 over the last 4 or 5 years, but yet they'll pay £300 just to be able to keep playing Call of Duty over the same period.
Yeah, I think it's been value for money.
Mm.
Oh, something else as well, actually, that we didn't mention. I have been given some extra months Game Pass for the Ultimate.
How come?
Because I had 3 months left. I've had 3 months. Well, no, it'd be more. I had 6 months of EA Pass left over.
Ah, right, okay.
So they converted it into months of Game Pass Ultimate. So now when I go to my subscriptions, that subscription has now stopped because EA is now free on Game Pass anyway.
Yeah.
And they give me 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate as a privilege.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's cool.
So I've got just over a year's worth of Game Pass to go at the moment. So not worry about it. Just fine by me.
Yep, sounds very good.
Mm.
Do you want to do Craig's?
Yeah, so Craig says, what's the top 3 launch titles that come to mind from any gen that can be cross different gens? So for example, he's gone for Mario 64, Halo, and Rezo.
Okay. I would say my top launch titles are going to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because it doesn't say exclusive, he just says launch titles. So I'm going to say Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Tekken Tag Tournament, because I did love that game back in the day, and then going back all the way to PlayStation original console, I'm going to say Ridge Racer.
That's a good shout. Actually, I do love Ridge Racer. I'm trying to think of launch titles now. So I think one comes to mind is Project Gotham Racing.
Mm-hmm.
That I think was with the Xbox original. Cameo with the 360. Another one.
I'm going to add a fourth one.
I'm not looking. I need to Google this, what they were, because I can't remember.
I'm going to add a fourth one, and it's PlayStation 1 again, and it's Wipeout. That was a new genre, well, a new slant on a genre-defining game.
Yeah, it was, must admit. Trying to think what there was, because I don't remember from the older consoles. I don't remember too much what the launch titles were. I don't remember when I picked up the PlayStation, for example. I don't know how far into the titles there were. But I think, was Bioshock a launch title? It wasn't, was it? That came out in February, didn't it?
Mm.
I suppose I'll put Halo in there as well then, just to put 3 into it.
Yeah. I mean, there have been so many good launch titles.
Yeah. I mean, I think when the 360 came out, was Fable a launch title or not?
I don't know.
Fable 2, should I say. I can't remember. I remember picking up Cameo, and what else did I pick up now? Just the 360 launched. I thought I bought about 3 games from the 360. Can't really. So, I had Perfect Dark Zero, that was another one.
Yeah.
Project Gotham Racing 3, Tiger Woods 2006, Ridge Racer 6. FIFA Soccer Road to 2006. Yeah, I remember that for the FIFA World Cup Road to for that. Remember that one?
Mm.
Condemned, which was a pretty good title.
Yeah.
But Fable wasn't one, or Fable 2.
No.
But yeah.
But there's been some real classic games as launch titles.
Yeah. I think some of the other titles, the big titles, don't come out on launch titles. They come out sort of March, February.
Yeah, they tend to be later. Okay. Craig said his would be Mario 64, Halo, and Resogun. Resogun was a good game on the PlayStation.
I'll take your word for it, never played it.
I thought you did, because it was also on the Vita. It was that sort of like Defender-style game that went in a loop on itself.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember it at all?
Remember the arcade? What's that arcade game the Xbox had? Oh man, yeah, I've not played it for donkeys. The one that's like a 2D, and you've got to stop. You know, you're in the middle of the screen, and all the stuff comes at you like at a million miles an hour as it slowly progresses.
You've just described half of the platformy type of games on space shooters out there.
It wasn't like Asteroids. But it wasn't, if you know what I mean. But it was very jazzy and funky with the music and the colours.
That wasn't PlayStation. That was PlayStation. That wasn't Xbox.
That was Xbox. Oh, probably someone's screaming at me now, but never mind, don't worry, but carry on.
Okay. I'll do Nick's question then. So Nick's asking, because of something he's seen online in the last couple of days and something in one of the websites, was why are games journalists forcing politics and race into video game consoles and game reviews?
I don't think we should be going down this route, to be honest, personally. But yeah, they shouldn't be together. Put it that way.
No, they don't go together.
No,
they don't go together. It's all of this. Some people seem to like to just keep enforcing their social justice warrior agenda, and let's just get rid of that whole agenda. Let's just treat people equally and be done with it. You know, we're all the same. We all live. We all go to the toilet. We all eat. We all do whatever we need to do until the day we die, and then we stop existing. And that's it.
Right, that game I was on about was Geometry Wars.
Oh, Geometry Wars, yeah, I remember that. That was the one with the wax on, wax off achievement.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, where you had to wipe along the sides of the screen area in one direction, then do it in the other direction. And then you got wax on, wax off. Yeah. As in the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off.
Actually, do you know one title you should bring back is Bomberman?
Oh, God, no.
And Chris would agree with me on that one. Such a class title.
That still not added any gravitas to me saying, oh, God, no, I don't like that title.
I'm just going through the Xbox Live Arcade games. I was just having a look through them, and
God, that's something of it. Yeah. Do you remember the Xbox 360? They had that one where you had like your avatar wandered around different rooms. You could buy individual arcade machine games. What was that called?
Oh, God knows.
Do you remember what I mean?
Well, I remember actually playing some.
Wasn't it Xbox Arcade or something?
Well, what you could do, actually, in one of the Forza games, you could go into your garage where you had your cars on show and play Geometry Wars on an arcade machine. They put it in the game. Boom Boom Rocket. Classic. I love that one. Good rhythm game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should be looking at my phone while we're doing this today this morning.
Right. Okay. So I think that's it for again. Another week. Episode 100.
And it's going to be based on the PS5.
Yay! It's going to be on the PS5. All the PS5 fanboys are going to be happy, aren't they?
I'm sure.
And Steve's going to be miserable.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Okay, so give us your contact details, Steve.
So, Twitter @Steve007. The PSN ID is the real Steve007. Xbox, Steve007. Instagram, Steve0764, as well as my YouTube channel. That's about it, really.
Okay. For me, it's HERJ UK, basically on everything: Twitter, PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, you name it. Apart from Epic, which is Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget, we also have our Twitter feed, which is Pop Culture Gamer. You can also look us up on our Facebook group. Just look for Pop Culture Gamers. Also, we have a Facebook page that has links to the group as well if you're looking for us. You can email podcast@popculturegamers.com. Try that again. podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. You can also go to our website, which is popculturegamers.podbean.com. If you really want to help out the show, and we could really do with that considering that we are approaching the new year and we have hosting fees in January, then you can also subscribe to our Patreon as well, which would be greatly appreciated. Just look for us on Patreon for Pop Culture Gamers. And that's it for another week. Another show in the bag. 100 just around the corner. And it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.